Hello everyone, welcome back to Star Notes. As you can see, we're in a bit of a different environment than usual. Today we're in our podcast studio, but today we are going to be talking about a new movie that just came out on February 14th named Paddington in Peru. So it originally released in the UK November 8th, 2024, but only recently did get released for the USA on February 14th, 2025 on Valentine's Day. So it's an international movie, but it got released just recently, so it's pretty relevant. With me today, Emily, you want to introduce yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Emily. I'm the opinion editor at the Northern Star.
All right. And yesterday, we actually just saw this in theaters, so it's kind of fresh in our minds. So if we want to get started, let's get started. So to start out, in one word, how do you describe this movie as a whole? I think that's pretty interesting.
I thought it was cute.
That was going to be my answer.
Oh.
I gotta think of a different one. Hilarious. I would say it's hilarious. It was more hilarious than anything.
Hilarious.
So with Paddington in Peru, it's the third installment in the Paddington trilogy. There was Paddington 1, which was 2014, I believe. Paddington 2 was 2017. Paddington 3 was the one just released. It's Paddington in Peru. So just a general rundown of what the movie was. Basically, we follow obviously Paddington Bear, kind of like our favorite lovable bear. Kind of like goes into a backstory of like where he came from in a way. And we're not going to spoil too much because we're going to get into the plot in a second. But basically just sort of like he was with the Brown family, and it's like he gets a letter from Reverend Mother, whatever her name is, that her Aunt Lucy is acting strangely or something. What was it? Like that?
Yeah, I think it was like, at first it was like acting strangely.
Yeah, and then acting strangely, and it's like, please come and visit Peru. And it's just like, yeah, they go to Peru, no resistance, whatever. But they go to Peru, and that's where we start the adventure. So before we get into the plot, a deep dive of plot, let's just start with, what's some expectations you had before coming into this movie?
I don't know. I don't think mine were really like high, I guess.
High.
But
Honestly,
I mean, I've heard of Paddington before, but I haven't watched any of the other Paddingtons, so I don't know, didn't really know what to expect. But.
Yeah. Honestly, I never really paid attention to the Paddington series ever since the Paddington 2. I mean, I've seen clips of it. I've never watched a movie full-fledged. I've seen a lot of clips on it. I did watch Paddington 1, that was decent, but I had pretty low expectations for this. It didn't seem like it would be as much of a success as it did. It definitely kind of speaks for itself, but my expectations are pretty low. Would you say your expectations were met?
I mean, I didn't really have expectations, so.
So yeah, I would say it exceeded my expectations. I think I already said that, but it's crazy how good this turned out. So let's do a deep dive into the plot now. So we kind of already said they went to Peru because Aunt Lucy is in trouble or whatnot, just acting strangely. And then we get introduced to Reverend Mother, who I immediately knew was kind of sus. I don't know. What do you think about that?
That's the one that was like a nun, right?
That was the nun.
Yeah,
the
nun.
Yeah. But there was only one song. I just realized. Yeah, and that was the one song was kind of forced. I don't know if that kind of played into it. I found it suspicious, but
I mean, Reverend Mother seemed okay until later on when she was pretty sus.
She was okay. We'll get into characters in a second, but Reverend Mother was definitely a character for a while. But then after Paddington comes in to visit Aunt Lucy's not there. Oh no, where's Aunt Lucy? But then kind of the entire movie from that point on. All right, so in their quest to find Aunt Lucy, basically they just trek out and they run into Hunter Cabot and his daughter Gina. So I mean, I immediately knew he was the voice actor for Puss in Boots. I don't know, I immediately got that. But those two characters are pretty well done. I mean, it was pretty early on. They were like, "Oh yeah, let's bring him in," because they saw Paddington was wearing that talisman or something. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, he's the key to finding I forgot what is it, El Dorado."
El Dorado. They were more so looking for gold.
Yeah, though. he's basically, oh yeah, his family is cursed or something. It's they're greedy. I don't know if it's a curse. They're just greedy. But basically he sees Paddington's talisman and he's like, ooh, he's my key to finally get the gold that my ancestors have been looking for 200 years. So there's that whole character dynamic. They had a lot of jokes with that, which I thought was pretty funny. Then after that, Gina tries stepping in and saying like, no, we're not gonna. Well, actually, first off, they confront Paddington and the Browns, basically saying, yeah, he's the key to this long lost treasure, and you're gonna help us find it. But before that happens, Gina or the captain throws his own daughter off the boat, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Oh,
yeah, and then and then he gets karma in the face, pretty much. So they both get thrown off the boat. The boat like ends up getting abandoned. Then Browns and Paddington are basically left astray. And then I don't really remember what happened, but from this point on. But I think Paddington at some point gets split up from the Browns.
Oh yeah.
And then he goes and finds I think it was the cool rock or something, relaxing rock.
Yeah, something like that. Because that's where Aunt Lucy was like, oh, that's the starting point.
That's the starting point. And then from that, it was him and the captain up until they reached the kind of the entrance to El Dorado. And then
the captain tries killing him.
He tries kill the bear. No. But then after that, it was and then we got A and B plot between the Browns and Paddington and the captain, and then the Mrs. Bird, I think. Yeah. Mrs. Bird, and then the nun. Basically, they the nun's surveilling the Browns, and then
because that was their secret room.
That was their secret room. Not very good at keeping it hidden for obvious reasons, but it had a really good comedic effect. And then basically at that point, they kind of intersect once. I think what was it? The Browns, and he said they needed a miracle because they were following Paddington. Gina comes back. Says to the Browns, oh yeah, the captain and the Paddington are probably together or something, and they're going to find the treasure. And what is it? Believe he cut off the bridge, and then they come in a plane that says the miracle.
It says miracle.
Because they're oh, we need a miracle, and then they literally come in a plane that says the miracle. I thought that was pretty funny. And then the captain and the Paddington reach the entrance. Captain obviously tries killing Paddington. And then at the last moment, I believe the Browns land in their plane after a really funny, little sequence with the manual bar. Where there was a good running joke with the tarantula throughout the entire time. That was really well paced. There's 3 times. First of all, it's he's an insurance. Mr. Brown's an insurance guy. So he sees, oh yeah, this tarantula is a problem. Then when they're in the water after the boat drowns, he's he's grab anything that floats, and then he picks up a tarantula thing, and then the third one is just it happened to be in that manual compartment.
The little wheel they spin around.
That was hilarious. I like how they did that. That we need more movies that have more jokes like that, where it's a reoccurring joke, but it's evenly paced at the worst times for the character. It's just it made it that much more funny. But then obviously they land the plane. I believe they land the plane right as the captain's about to throw Paddington off the edge for his talisman or something. And then as they get out of the plane, the nun has a tattoo that shows, and Gina sees it. And then basically that's when we realize that whole transition from because we were thinking the nun was just really sus, but then then there was she has that secret room, so it's oh, that's it, that's the only sus part. But the fact they turned that around, her as an aiding party, turning into oh, she's the real deal, she's the real antagonist here.
She's part of the captain's family or something.
Yeah, that the way they spin that, and then the way they explained it afterwards, that she's not really nuts, she's a treasure hunter, she's part of the captain's family, and just that whole arc was just extremely well done. I had no idea. Which, for a family movie, technically, this is a family comedy movie, that was really well done. Usually, they're very obvious with that. But that's something, I highly commend the crew and the studio for doing. It's just, keeping that under wraps for that long. And then when they did the recap, they showed, everything was put in place. They didn't leave any obvious clues. So that was really good from that. And then obviously the captain has a little dilemma. It's oh, do I choose my daughter or do I choose the gold? And then at the end, I thought he chose the gold for a second, but then he just bonked the nun in the head, Reverend Mother in the head, if we can even call her Reverend Mother. I don't know. Oh yeah, and in the background, I thought it was pretty funny how it's when she realized it was the treasure was about bears, she did the obvious thing, and she volunteered at the home for retired bears. She's hi guys, I'm your new Reverend Mother. Just super fun, super out there, super funny. Yeah. And then after that, obviously the captain goes with the daughter because he doesn't need the gold. Well, good thing for him, because once Paddington and the Browns go into El Dorado, they realize the gold is just oranges, which honestly kind of makes sense considering Paddington loves marmalade. That's like his whole thing, his whole shtick. But yeah,
it's crazy they went all that way to find gold. It was just oranges.
I'm glad. Imagine he actually went in that El Dorado place, dude. He would have flipped out.
Oh,
like he would have flipped
yeah.
out.
He would have been like, "Are you kidding me? Like this is just all oranges. I thought it was gold."
Oh, actually, a really small detail I forgot to mention that I feel like a lot of people will probably miss out. When the captain picked his daughter, all the people who were behind him, like his ancestors, like poofed out of existence, which means the curse is gone. Because he broke the curse, which is
choosing his daughter.
Because he's choosing his daughter, he broke the curse of greed. So that's like kind of like, I feel like a lot of people miss that, but you know, that is important. So either like to break the curse, I don't think finding the gold would have broke the curse, to be honest. I think it was just like a little thing, but I thought that was pretty interesting, a little small detail. But other than that, obviously when they make it to El Dorado, apparently we find out Paddington is part of this El Dorado tribe, right? That's like where he's from. And at the beginning of the movie where he basically fell into a river, we basically show like, oh, he like left or something, or got lost. Like he kind of fell in a river, got kind of like a Finding Dory, like as
Finding Dory.
It's similar to Finding Dory in a way, isn't it? Like how Finding Dory, like Dory was a part of an aquarium, but then she like got flushed
she was
out.
trying to like find her family.
Yeah, so it's kind of similar to Finding Dory in that sort of sense, but other than that, like obviously there's a little heartfelt moments, like the Browns think that Paddington found his tribe. Oh, he finds out Lucy. That's like the main thing.
Oh yeah.
Basically, they saved her. He gives her back her glasses. He can see her. Oh,
she can see him.
Yeah, she can see Paddington. And then Paddington basically kind of like reunites with his tribe. They build a little marmalade machine. I thought that was pretty interesting and pretty funny. Honestly, the kid, like the guy, the guy. Get him into MIT. Like, he doesn't even need college, to be honest with you. No, he could just
go in the real world.
Go in the real world and just, I don't know. He probably make
creations.
100%. But obviously there's like a little thing at the end. They play with like the audience's heartstrings a little bit. It's like, oh yeah, like because Paddington comes up to the Browns and he's like, oh yeah, I'm wondering if I can like stay. And like Mrs. Brown is like, oh yes, please go with you, because she thinks he's gonna say
to like
with
stay
a tribe.
an elder.
But then he changes it to with you, and I'm like, I didn't know actually which way it was gonna go, because I thought honestly he was gonna stay with the tribe and like they were gonna have like that's how they were gonna end it. But I'm glad they went with like staying with the Browns just based on like the history they had together. I feel like if they threw it all away, they would just like throw away like the storyline, the whole point of it, right? Because they had this entire adventure. You know, so in a way, it was kind of predictable, but it was predictable in a good way. Like, I didn't immediately know. Like, most family movies, what they're usually guilty of is a very obvious plot line that just everyone knows how it's going to end. So when it actually happens, no one's surprised. But I was pleasantly surprised with this, right?
Yeah, I think I was pretty surprised by that, because part of me thought that like he was going to stay with this tribe, especially since like he went all that way to find his Aunt Lucy, and since they were like reunited, I thought that that he was gonna stay with this tribe, and then when he was like, "Oh, I want to stay with you instead," I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, it was pretty nice. And then obviously we get a little bit of an epilogue afterwards. Paddington goes back to London, and then pretty much kind of gives a little bit of a rundown of what everyone else is doing. I thought it was pretty interesting how the daughter ended up going to a school newspaper for college, considering that's what we're in right now. Yeah. So. That was really funny. Like me, Emily, and then we were with someone else. We were like, "Oh yeah, that's us," you know. So that was a little bit of a shout out to us there indirectly.
She'd be a lifestyle.
Should she be? And then we were thinking, because she was publishing the story, and the guy's like, "Yeah, I think after a couple of changes, we should run it." And she's like, "Changes." And I'm like, what section would be probably lifestyle, which is what Star Notes is under, which is interesting.
Yeah. I only thought lifestyle because like when they went on their adventure, she did a whole travel log, and I was like, that seems kind of lifestyle-ish.
Yeah, but other than that, that's pretty much the movie. Paddington wrapped up after that. Super good. Let's talk about how Paddington was rendered, I guess, right? There was no time where I felt like he was out of place in the world. Sure, there was a couple like instances where CGI was a bit off, like when he was on top of the trees, like the lighting was a bit off. But other than that, I think Paddington was rendered out fine. What about you?
Yeah, I'd say Paddington. I just like Paddington. I think he's cute.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. The visual set design was really good as well.
yeah, I think it's pretty good.
I think they knocked it out of the park. So I think the next thing we can get into is, do you think this movie rounds out the trilogy pretty much? Do you think they should make a fourth one after this?
No.
No,
I think it's good.
I agree. I think they should end it here. I know at the post-credit scenes they had like the little, I believe he was someone from a prior movie who is like imprisoned and basically asking to, because he was about to release. He's like, oh yeah, I'm wondering if you could be cast in my new Goldilocks and Three Bears thing, right? That was a little thing. I don't think they're gonna make a fourth one.
I don't think so.
I know people.
I don't think they need to. I think like it's good ending where it was.
Yeah, I know people are speculating. Oh, Paddington 4. I think they should. This is like a good stopping point because.
Yeah, because like it had a happy ending and everything.
Right,
so.
and also I feel like where are they going to expand it from there? Like
yeah, exactly.
The kids are grown up. The Browns are kind of like doing their own thing now. Paddington found his true family.
Yeah.
There's really no other reason to continue. So to all the people who like really want Paddington to continue, I understand you, but I think it should end here. Personally, it should end here. It's been a good trilogy. They should probably focus on Peter Rabbit. No, I'm joking. Peter Rabbit is another movie I really want to see, but I haven't seen it yet. But I know it's similar to Paddington in a way, right? Just based. So as a recommendation, if you like Paddington, watch Peter Rabbit. If you haven't already, you probably have already. It's also British, right? I believe so. Yeah. Who do you think had the better character arc, Reverend Mother or the Captain?
Oh, maybe Reverend Mother.
Reverend Mother, because of like the whole dynamic of like she's super sus, and then just for me it's the Captain, just because like that one just I really thought he was gonna go for the gold at the end. I really did, and the way
I kind of thought that too.
Yeah, I think he had the better. We also had more time with him. Reverend Mother was sort of like one character for a bit, and then maybe that other character for probably like a couple minutes, but the Captain definitely had more character development than Reverend Mother, but both of them equally were really good. I like the fact
the Captain did realize like by the end that like choosing his daughter over like his greed,
right? And yeah, just
or maybe he just didn't want to make a new star.
I mean, having two villains is really good here. So I like that a lot. All right, and before we get on to the ratings, the official ratings, do we want to just say our favorite joke?
From the movie?
On the movie, yeah.
Oh,
because I have mine right here.
I don't know. What would you consider like a joke?
There's a ton of jokes here. I mean, you could talk about. We talked about the tarantula at length. That's like a running joke. But I would say like
the tarantula.
That's like a running joke. But I would say like, for example, when the Captain was like having those people behind him and like the daughter was about to be shot, he's like, "Oh, we can make a new one."
Oh yeah. That was probably my favorite.
That was like it was so quiet in the back, but if you heard it, it's like, oh, you could just make a new one, bro. That was so funny. No, my favorite joke was the hard stare.
Oh,
the hard stare.
He's like, I like that one too.
No, because it's funny because when I looked at this stuff, I saw the hard stare. So. Yeah, but other than that, we'll get into official ratings and maybe read a couple reviews. So officially, this is crazy. When I saw these, I was like, my gosh, they probably did something right. So do you want to take a gander what the official ratings, like the official Rotten Tomatoes score for Paddington in Peru was?
Oh, probably it's gotta be like in the 90s, probably.
You would be correct. It's 93, which is insanely good considering what was it, the Oscars? Most of the stuff that won were 90s. So like, if you get 90% for a family movie, that's like insanely good. Audience score 91. In addition to a really good Rotten Tomatoes official critic score, got an insanely good audience score as well. Which, usually. Like in the case of the Mario movie, that got an insanely high audience score because the people watching that were probably kids or people who are insane fans of the Super Mario movie franchise. But the thing with Rotten Tomatoes scores, which is why I usually pay attention to them more, is because they're unbiased. They look at things objectively. They look at how pacing is. They're supposed to be unbiased because most of them are journalists, right? Like majority of us. So yeah, audience score could be one thing. It's a little bit lower than the Rotten Tomatoes score, but the fact that the Rotten Tomatoes score 93 that means it did insanely well, and I agree with that. I'm just reading through reviews right now, and most of them are saying it's good, very heartfelt storyline. People love Paddington. I'm trying to find a single negative review. The one negative review says, "We unfortunately missed the showing." That doesn't sound like you should.
Sound like a review.
That doesn't sound like a review. That sounds like a skill issue. If you were writing a review here, what would you say your review would be of Paddington in Peru? It's a little new thing we're doing, but I think it would be interesting.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, a lot of other people probably said it, but it's very like cute, very heartfelt. It's a good like family movie, especially like I guess with like the messages out of it, like how you can never really replace family, and yeah, just I don't know. I thought it was cute.
All right,
It was a good like adventure thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I'm gonna keep that in the files. I'm gonna write that on screen. Yeah, but for my review, I would say it's a well-rendered, well-developed, very intriguing character developments, and just a very well-timed humor as well, and just an overall very fun to watch. And I think this is the pinnacle of like what family movies should be. It's not something that's too cringy, but it's also not too hard to understand for like kids to understand, you know? So I'd say just well done to the studio who did this. I know it's directed by Dougal Wilson. I'm unfamiliar with him. I think he's a British. Is this his only thing he's directed? This is his only film he's directed.
Really?
Yeah, wait. Dougal Wilson is the director of Paddington in Peru. I highly doubt. No, he's a new director. This is his first feature film other than this is his first feature film that he's ever directed. I think that's a big deal. Like
Oscar winner.
Dougal Wilson, dude, you're doing good work. Like crazy, your first feature film and it's this good. I mean, he has some promise.
Oscar winner.
Yeah.
Or Oscar nominee.
Oscar nominee? What would this be Oscar nominee for?
I forgot the categories. I just watched it last
Best
night.
animated feature? No.
Yeah, maybe.
We got to talk about Flo.
Oh my god.
We have to talk about Flo.
Oh yeah, they won an Oscar.
Other than that pretty much wraps up Paddington in Peru. Unless you have any final thoughts do you want to say about Paddington in Peru?
Oh, okay. Well, one part I liked, I think it was like towards the beginning. I just thought it was funny when Paddington was in the little photo booth.
Yes, but the coin thing was actually a really they paid homage to that when he was actually getting into El Dorado.
Yeah, because like he did the same
He did the coin thing, but I thought the whole thing was like really absurd. It kind of set the stage for the humor of the rest of the film for sure. Other than that pretty much wraps up Paddington Peru. I mean, I don't have any final thoughts. I pretty much got everything I wanted to say, but I want to talk about a little bit about the Oscars because I know that was like kind of a big deal.
Wicked got robbed.
Wicked. I think we gotta talk about Flo because this is an animated film. We gotta talk about Flo next time on next Star Notes. But so stay tuned for that. Next week is our spring break, so we will be off the air for a week, unfortunately. But when we come back, we're gonna either do Flo or Invincible season 3. So let us know, guys and girls. Should we do Invincible or should we do Flo? Because Flo got Best Animated Feature. Invincible Season 3, everyone's kind of talking about it.
Yeah, I think Flo beat Inside Out 2, I think.
Flo beat Inside Out 2 and The Wild Robot.
Yeah.
I was pissed about The Wild Robot losing, like, all categories. And so did Inside Out also lost all categories that it was nominated for.
Wicked won, like, 2 Oscars, but Cynthia Erivo didn't get Best Actress, so I was a little upset about that.
I'm glad Amelia Perez didn't win anything. Nora.
Oh yeah, Nora won a whole bunch. They won like 5 or 6.
So that's interesting. I did read the synopsis of that. That was pretty interesting. But other than that wraps up this episode of Star Notes. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like if you do like this sort of content and you want us to continue. And please let us know if you want Invincible Season 3 or Flo, because we'll watch those over spring break and then we'll come back and we'll give our thoughts and we'll give our honest in-depth analysis on that. So without further ado, we'll see you guys after spring break. We hope you have a great spring break if you're on campus. If you're not, then enjoy the break anyways. But we'll see you guys next time. See you later. Bye-bye.